Welcome. It's great to have you joining us today on English Rise podcast.
Hey, English learners. Welcome back to the English Rise podcast. This is your right place to learn easy English through real conversations and improve your life at the same time. I am Anna.
And I am Tom. Here, we help you understand English in a simple and natural way, just by listening to real conversations, just like this one.
Yeah, so you don't have to stress about grammar all the time or try to remember difficult rules. You can just relax, listen, and slowly improve your English.
Exactly. And at the same time, we talk about real-life topics, things that actually matter in your daily life.
And today's topic is something I think almost everyone has experienced at some point.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things that sounds simple, but feels really difficult when you're going through it.
You know, I was thinking about this recently. Why do people quit things so easily?
That's interesting. What made you think about that?
I don't know. I just noticed that sometimes people start something with a lot of excitement, like learning English, going to the gym, starting a new skill.
Yeah, strong beginning.
Exactly. But after some time, when things get a little difficult, or when they don't see results quickly, they just give up.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
And the strange thing is, sometimes they quit when they are actually very close to improving.
Yeah, that's the part most people don't realize. They think nothing is happening, but maybe something is happening, just slowly.
Right. And I feel like that moment when you feel like quitting, that's the most important moment.
True, because that's where you decide, do I stop here or do I keep going?
But honestly, how do you even know? Like, when should you keep going and when should you stop?
That's a very real question. I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah, because sometimes continuing feels hard and quitting feels easier.
Yeah, quitting always feels easier in the moment.
But later, it doesn't feel that good.
Exactly.
So today, we're just going to talk about this idea. Not like a lesson, just a real conversation.
Yeah, we'll try to understand why people quit and what's actually happening in those moments.
And maybe, by the end of this conversation, you'll see things a little differently.
And if you enjoy these kinds of real and simple conversations, you can like the video and subscribe to our channel.
All right, so let's get into it. Why do people really quit before success?
I think one simple reason is things don't stay easy.
Yeah, that's true. In the beginning, everything feels exciting.
Exactly. You feel motivated, you have energy, and everything feels possible.
But then slowly, reality starts showing up.
Yeah, things get harder, progress feels slow, and that excitement starts to fade.
And I think that's the point where most people start thinking, maybe this is not for me.
Right. Instead of thinking, this is part of the process, they think, this is a problem.
Yeah, and that small change in thinking makes a big difference.
It really does. Because once you start thinking something is wrong, you lose confidence.
And when you lose confidence, even small problems feel big.
Exactly. Like something that was manageable before suddenly feels overwhelming.
I felt that before. Like you're doing something regularly, and then one day you just feel tired, and you don't want to continue.
Yeah, and that feeling can be very strong.
And the problem is, in that moment, quitting feels like the easiest option.
It does, because your mind is trying to avoid discomfort.
Right, it just wants relief.
Exactly. Not success, just relief.
That's interesting. People don't quit because they don't want success.
They quit because they want to feel better in that moment.
Yeah, and that moment feels so real, like I can't do this anymore.
But the truth is, it's just a phase.
Yeah, a phase that feels permanent.
Exactly. And if you don't understand that, you might make a decision too quickly.
So you're saying it's not always about the situation, it's about how we feel in that moment.
Yes, most of the time it's emotional, not logical.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
And that's why people quit, even when they're doing okay.
Yeah, because they feel like they're not doing okay.
Exactly. And that feeling slowly pushes them to stop, even if they've already made some progress.
Yeah, and I think this happens a lot in real life, especially with things that take time.
Like learning English, for example.
Yes, that's the best example. People start learning with so much motivation.
They practice every day, they watch videos, they try to speak.
But after some time, they feel like nothing is improving.
Yeah, they say, I'm still making mistakes. I still don't feel confident.
And then they think, what's the point?
Exactly. Even though they are actually improving, just slowly.
I think the problem is they expect fast results.
Yeah, they want to see a big change in a short time.
But real progress doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. It's usually small changes, again and again.
And those small changes are hard to notice.
Exactly, because they're not dramatic.
This also happens in other areas, like going to the gym.
Yeah, you go for a few weeks, you work hard, but you don't see a big difference.
And then you feel like this is not working.
Even though your body is changing, just slowly.
Right. But because you don't see it clearly, you lose motivation.
And once motivation goes down, consistency becomes difficult.
Yeah. And then missing one day becomes missing many days.
Exactly. And that's how people slowly stop.
It's kind of sad, actually, because they were already on the right path.
Yeah, they didn't fail. They just stopped too early.
And I think social media makes this even worse.
Oh, definitely.
Because you see other people succeeding so fast.
And you start comparing your slow progress with their highlights.
Yeah. And then you feel like you're behind.
Exactly. Even if you're doing fine, it doesn't feel enough.
And that feeling, I'm not doing enough?
Can make you want to give up,
Yeah. Not because you can't do it.
but because you think you're not good enough.
That difference is really important.
It is. And most people don't even realize it.
They just stop without understanding why.
Exactly. And that's why this topic is so important to talk about.
Yeah, because if you don't understand what's really happening inside your mind, you might keep repeating the same pattern again and again.
I think one big reason behind this is people depend too much on results.
What do you mean?
I mean, they only feel good when they see progress.
Yeah, that's true.
But the problem is, real progress is not always visible in the beginning.
Right, it's happening, but you can't really see it clearly.
Exactly. And because you don't see it, your mind starts creating doubt.
Like, maybe this is not working.
Yeah, or maybe I'm wasting my time.
That thought is very dangerous.
It is. Because once that doubt enters your mind, it slowly grows.
And then even small problems feel like big signs to stop.
Exactly. Your brain starts looking for reasons to quit.
It's like your mind is trying to protect you.
Yeah, protect you from disappointment, failure, or feeling uncomfortable.
But in doing that, it actually stops you from growing.
Right. Because growth is uncomfortable by nature.
So, if something feels difficult, it doesn't mean it's wrong.
It might actually mean you're on the right path.
That's interesting.
Another thing is, people think motivation will always be there.
Yeah, that's a big one.
In the beginning, motivation is high. Everything feels easy.
But after some time, that motivation disappears.
Exactly. And when it disappears, people feel lost.
They think, I don't feel like doing this anymore. Maybe I should stop.
But that's normal. Motivation is not constant.
So, the problem is not losing motivation.
The problem is expecting it to stay forever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And when motivation goes away, that's where discipline becomes important.
But discipline is harder, right?
It is, because now you're doing things even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, and that's exactly the moment where most people quit.
Exactly. Not because they can't continue.
But because they don't feel like continuing.
Right. And feelings can change, but decisions have long-term effects.
That's deep.
And there's one more thing.
Hmm?
Sometimes it's not just about results or motivation.
Then what is it?
It's about identity.
Identity?
Yeah. When people fail again and again, they start thinking, maybe I'm just not good at this.
Oh, yeah, that feeling hits hard.
It does, because now it's not just about the task. It's about who you think you are.
And once you start believing that, quitting feels like the only option.
Exactly. Not because the journey is impossible.
But because you don't believe in yourself anymore.
Right. And that's probably the deepest reason why people quit too early.
But let me ask you something. Do you really think quitting is always a bad thing? Because sometimes I feel like people say don't quit in a very extreme way.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, no matter what happens, just keep going. But honestly, I don't fully agree with that idea. I think sometimes quitting can actually be the right decision.
Exactly. Because there are situations where continuing doesn't make sense anymore. Like if something is clearly not right for you or it's affecting your mental health, then forcing yourself to continue is not really a smart choice.
Right. And in that case, quitting is not weakness. It's more like awareness. You understand your situation and you make a conscious decision instead of just blindly continuing.
So maybe the real problem is not quitting itself.
It's how and when you quit. Because there's a big difference between quitting after thinking deeply and quitting just because things feel uncomfortable in the moment.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of people don't actually stop to think about that. They just react to their emotions. If something feels hard or frustrating, they immediately think, okay, this is not for me.
Exactly. And that reaction is usually emotional, not logical. In that moment, you're not really analyzing the situation. You're just trying to escape the discomfort you're feeling.
And that discomfort can feel very real and very strong. Like when you're tired or not seeing results, it really feels like continuing is pointless.
Yeah, and that's why it becomes tricky. Because from the outside, quitting might look like a simple decision, but from the inside, it feels completely justified.
So then how can someone understand the difference? Like, how do you know if you're making a smart decision or just reacting emotionally?
I think one simple way is to ask yourself a better question. Instead of just asking, should I quit? You ask, why do I want to quit right now?
Yeah, that changes things. Because then you're forced to look at your reason, not just your feeling.
Exactly. And if your reason is something like fear, frustration, or self-doubt, then maybe quitting is not the answer. Maybe you just need a break or a different approach.
But if your reason is clarity, like you've really thought about it and you know this path is not right for you,
then quitting can actually be a positive step. It means you're choosing something better, not just escaping something difficult.
So it's not about forcing yourself to continue no matter what. It's more about understanding yourself and your situation clearly.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes what feels like the end is actually just a difficult phase. And if you don't recognize that, you might walk away too early.
Yeah, and that's probably where most people make the mistake.
They don't give themselves enough time to really understand what they're going through.
Yeah, and I think that's where something really important happens, but people don't even notice it.
What do you mean?
I mean, sometimes the hardest phase, the most confusing and frustrating part, comes right before things start improving.
Yeah, I've seen that happen many times.
Like when you feel completely stuck, like nothing is working.
And you start thinking that all your effort is wasted.
Exactly. That's usually the moment when people decide to quit.
But the strange thing is, that might actually be the moment when something is about to change.
Yeah, that's the scary part. You don't know if you're close to success or just wasting your time.
Right. Because progress is not always visible. It's happening quietly, in the background.
Like you're improving, but you can't clearly see it yet.
Exactly. And because you can't see it, you start doubting everything.
Your effort, your ability, even your decision to start.
Yeah, and that doubt slowly pushes you toward quitting.
And then later, you might realize you were actually closer than you thought.
That happens a lot. People stop just before things begin to work.
It's like planting a seed.
Yeah, you water it every day, but for a long time, nothing appears on the surface.
And if you stop watering it too early,
It never grows.
but if you continue, even when you don't see anything,
One day, it starts to show.
so maybe success is not just about working hard.
It's also about staying long enough to see the results of your effort.
Yeah, because effort needs time to turn into something visible.
Exactly. And most people don't fail because they can't do it.
They fail because they don't stay long enough.
Right. They leave in the middle of the process.
Without realizing that they were already moving forward.
And that's the breakthrough, I think. You don't always need to do something bigger or better. Sometimes you just need to continue.
Yeah, just continue. Even when it feels slow, even when it feels uncertain.
Because that quiet, slow phase,
Might be the most important part of the whole journey.
And I think this is where people really need to pause and reflect on their own situation.
Because it's very easy to listen to this and say, yeah, that makes sense, but much harder to apply it in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're actually going through that slow phase, when nothing seems to be working, it doesn't feel like progress at all. It just feels frustrating and tiring.
Right. And in that moment, your mind starts telling you a story, like this is not working or you're wasting your time, and you start believing that without questioning it.
So maybe it's important to stop for a second and ask yourself something honestly. Like, have you ever been in that situation where you felt like quitting, even though you had already put in so much effort?
Yeah, and not just once. I think most people experience this again and again in different areas of life. Sometimes it's learning a skill, sometimes it's work, sometimes it's something personal.
And when that feeling comes, what do you usually do? Do you stop immediately? Or do you give yourself some time to think clearly before making a decision?
That's a very important question, because many times we don't even give ourselves that space. We just react. We feel tired or frustrated, and we think quitting will solve everything.
And another thing people can ask themselves is, am I really stuck, or does it just feel like I'm stuck? Because I think there's a big difference between those two.
Exactly. Feeling stuck doesn't always mean you are stuck. Sometimes you're actually moving forward, just slowly, in a way that's hard to notice.
Yeah. And I think if people start asking themselves these kinds of questions, they might understand their situation better instead of making quick decisions.
Right. Because at the end of the day, no one else fully knows your journey. You have to be honest with yourself and really understand what's going on inside your mind.
And maybe that small pause, that moment of reflection, can actually stop you from quitting too early.
Yeah, sometimes you don't need a big change. You just need to slow down and think more clearly.
That reminds me of something, actually. I remember a time when I almost quit something, even though I had already spent so much time on it.
Oh, really? What happened?
It was when I was trying to improve my English speaking. In the beginning, I was very motivated. I practiced every day, listened to podcasts, tried to speak whenever I could.
Yeah, that sounds like a strong start.
It was. But after a few weeks, I started feeling like nothing was changing. I was still making mistakes, still feeling nervous while speaking, and honestly, it felt like all my effort was useless.
Yeah, that feeling can be very discouraging.
It really was. I remember one day I just thought, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I'm just not good at this. And I seriously felt like quitting.
So what did you do? Did you stop for a while or did you continue?
At that moment, I really wanted to stop. But instead of quitting immediately, I decided to take a short break and just think about everything calmly.
That was a smart move.
Yeah. And during that time, I realized something. I wasn't actually stuck. I was just expecting fast results.
Ah, that's a big realization.
Exactly. So I decided to continue, but with a different mindset. I stopped focusing too much on perfect English and just tried to speak a little every day.
And what happened after that?
After some time, slowly, things started changing. I felt a little more confident. I made fewer mistakes. And one day I realized, wait, I'm actually improving.
That must have felt really good.
It did. But the interesting part is, that improvement didn't come suddenly. It was already happening before. I just couldn't see it at that time.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about. Progress was there, just invisible.
Right. And if I had quit in that earlier moment, I would have never seen that progress.
That's a powerful lesson.
Yeah. Sometimes the only reason we don't succeed is because we stop too soon.
Exactly. Not because we can't do it, but because we don't give it enough time.
And I think many people listening right now can relate to this in their own way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is a good point to talk about what people can actually do in these situations. Because understanding the problem is one thing, but handling it in real life is something else.
Right. And I feel like one common mistake people make is that they focus too much on the result and not enough on the process. They want to see big changes quickly, and when that doesn't happen, they lose interest.
Exactly. But the truth is, most meaningful progress is slow. It doesn't feel exciting every day. Sometimes it feels repetitive, sometimes even boring. But that's actually part of the process.
Yeah. And I think people also underestimate small progress. Like they think if the change is not big, then it doesn't matter.
But in reality, those small improvements are the ones that create big results over time. It just takes patience to see it.
Another thing is, people wait to feel motivated before they continue. They think, I'll start again when I feel ready.
Yeah, but that's not how it works. Motivation comes and goes. You can't depend on it all the time.
Exactly. And if you only act when you feel motivated, you'll stop very quickly.
That's where consistency becomes important. Even if you do something small, doing it regularly makes a big difference.
So instead of thinking, I need to do something big, it's better to think, I just need to do something today.
Yeah, keep it simple. Reduce the pressure. Because sometimes people quit not because the task is too hard, but because their expectations are too high.
That's so true. When you expect too much from yourself in a short time, you naturally feel disappointed.
And that disappointment slowly turns into frustration, and then into quitting.
So maybe a better approach is to focus on showing up, even if it's not perfect, even if it's just a small step.
Exactly. Because taking small steps consistently is much more powerful than doing something big once and then stopping completely.
And I think another helpful thing is to remind yourself why you started in the first place. Because sometimes in the middle of the journey, we forget that.
Yeah, and when you forget your reason, it becomes easier to quit. But when your reason is clear, it gives you strength to continue even when things feel slow.
So maybe it's a good moment to ask yourself, what is something in your life that you almost gave up on? Or maybe you're still thinking about quitting.
Yeah, and what is the real reason behind that feeling? Is it because it's truly not right for you? Or just because it feels difficult right now?
And also, are you expecting fast results, or are you giving yourself enough time to actually grow?
These are simple questions, but if you answer them honestly, they can really change the way you look at your situation.
Yeah, so take a moment and think about it. And if you feel comfortable, you can share your experience with us as well.
We'd really like to hear your story, because everyone's journey is different, but we can all learn from each other.
Yeah. And before we finish, let's take a few moments to look at some useful English from our conversation, because I think there were some really practical phrases that you can start using in your daily life.
Exactly. And the good thing is, these are not complicated phrases. They're simple, natural, and very commonly used in real conversations.
One phrase we used quite a few times was give up. It's very common, but also very important to understand clearly. It simply means to stop trying or to quit something.
Yeah, like when things get difficult and you decide not to continue anymore. For example, you can say, I wanted to learn English, but I gave up after a few weeks.
Right. And the opposite idea of that is something we also talked about, which is keep going. It means to continue even when something feels difficult or slow.
Exactly. So instead of saying, I stopped, you can say, I decided to keep going even when it was hard. It shows determination in a very simple way.
Another useful expression we used was stay consistent. This one is very important, especially when you're learning something new. It means to do something regularly without stopping.
Yeah, not perfectly, but regularly. For example, I didn't study a lot every day, but I stayed consistent. That's actually more powerful in the long run.
And then there's a phrase that describes a feeling many people experience, which is feel stuck. It means you feel like you're not making progress, like you're not moving forward.
Exactly. Like when you're trying hard but you don't see results, you might say, I feel stuck in my learning. It's a very natural way to express that frustration.
Yeah. And connected to that, we also used lose motivation. This means you no longer feel the energy or desire to continue doing something.
Right. For example, at the beginning I was excited, but after some time I lost motivation. It's something almost everyone can relate to.
And I think one of my favorite phrases from today's conversation was figure it out. It's simple, but very powerful. It means to slowly understand something or find a solution to a problem.
Yeah, like when you're confused at first, but with time and effort, things start becoming clear. You can say, I didn't understand at first, but I figured it out.
And I think that's a really important mindset as well. You don't need to understand everything immediately.
You just need to give yourself time to figure things out step by step.
Exactly. So try to notice these phrases, maybe repeat them, and slowly start using them in your own sentences.
Yeah, because the goal is not just to understand English, but to actually use it in real life.
Exactly. And now let's do something a little more personal.
Let's move into a quick speaking practice section, because listening is not enough. You also need to try speaking if you really want to improve.
Yeah, and don't worry about making mistakes. Just try to express your thoughts in your own simple English. That's how real improvement happens.
So let's start with a simple question. Have you ever wanted to quit something, but somehow you kept going? Think about it. Maybe learning something, maybe a habit, or maybe a goal you had.
Yeah, and while you think about that, try to answer it out loud in English. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just speak naturally, like you're talking to a friend.
For example, you can say something like, "Yes, I wanted to quit when things got difficult, but I decided to keep going because," and then complete it with your own experience.
And here's another question. What usually makes you lose motivation? Is it slow progress, lack of results, or something else? Try to explain it in your own words.
Yeah. And again, don't overthink grammar. Just focus on expressing your idea clearly. Even simple sentences are completely fine.
And really take a moment here. Pause the video if you need to, and actually try to say your answers out loud. That small effort makes a big difference over time.
And if you feel comfortable, you can also think about this last question. What helps you keep going when things get hard? Is it your goal, your mindset, or maybe someone supporting you?
Yeah, and once you answer these questions, you'll realize you can actually talk about your thoughts in English much better than you think.
So don't just listen, participate. Try it now and speak your answers out loud.
And after that, if you want to continue improving your English through real conversations like this, make sure you stay connected with us.
Yes, because we're going to keep bringing simple, real, and useful conversations like this every time.
So don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey of learning English in a natural way.
All right, now let's quickly wrap everything up.
Yeah, so today we talked about something very real and relatable. Why people often quit before success, even when they are actually on the right path.
We talked about how it usually starts with motivation, but then slowly things get difficult. Progress feels slow and people start doubting themselves.
And we also realize that most of the time, quitting doesn't happen because someone cannot do it. It happens because they don't feel like continuing in that moment.
Yeah, and we also discussed that sometimes the hardest phase comes right before progress. So what feels like failure might actually just be a slow part of growth.
Exactly. And that's why patience, consistency, and understanding your emotions are so important when you're working toward any goal.
We also looked at some useful phrases like give up, keep going, stay consistent, feel stuck, lose motivation, and figure it out. These are simple words, but they help you express real situations in English.
So if you remember anything from today, maybe remember this. Progress is not always visible, but that doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah. And sometimes the only difference between success and giving up is just staying a little longer.
Exactly. Just not stopping too early.
And if you ever feel like quitting something, maybe pause for a moment and ask yourself why you started in the first place.
Yeah, that small reflection can change your decision completely.
All right, so that's it for today's conversation.
We really hope this helped you not just with English, but also with how you think about your own journey.
Keep learning, keep growing, even if progress feels slow.
Because slow progress is still progress.
Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone, and keep going.